Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. Let's take a look at our business, shall we? Do you believe in your business? Do you believe in your success? For that matter, do you know what success is to you? Now, there is a very big difference between your business, as in your job, like your career, what you personally are doing, or a job, which is working for somebody else. Now, both are of extreme value, and the first thing you have to decide is, am I an entrepreneur? I mentioned last week I was going to look into a couple of things a little bit more in detail today. Not the least of which, yes, I keep a notepad with me all the time. I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I find that a notepad helps me keep things organized, helps me get things done in the right way. Now, I mentioned last week about the issue of, are you willing to keep an eye on all aspects of your business? Now, to be clear, being an entrepreneur, being like running your own business, at the beginning, you literally have to do everything. Okay. As your business grows, you will bring people in undoubtedly that can do other parts of it. A restaurant owner, for example, had to start with, they've got to know how to cook, they've got to know how to do all the cleaning and what have you. But as the business grows, if you want to do more than just serve a couple of people, you have to hire people to do the other jobs, the cooking, the cleaning, the writing the paperwork. But that being said, because in simplest terms is this: one person produces 1 man hour of work an hour. If you desire to get bigger than that, you have to have people doing some of your work. But in any event, you still have to have an idea as to how all of it works. If you don't know how something works in your company, you're not going to be successful. You're going to have something happen. Okay, it's just inevitable. If you don't know how to do the job, you won't know if they're doing it right. Therefore, you cannot stay on top of it. This is just simple procedure. Now, the neat little part about it is this: you don't have to be as good as they are. You just have to understand the basics. The sign of a really successful businessman is not that they know how to do everything perfectly. It's that they know how to find the people they can trust to do things properly. Okay, so I mean, I've mentioned before, I've already got the groundwork laid out. So as my company grows, I can slide new people into it to deal with everything that I consider important. These are just the tools I personally use and ones that may work for you. But it's up to you to give them a try, to give them a shot. Give them an honest shot. Take a look at them this way. If if you haven't done it this way before, first rule of thumb: if you're happy with your business and it's doing what you desire it to do, then fly at it, carry on. But remember to follow karmic law and business law, because both will get you into trouble if you don't. Okay, now I have talked to people about the ways to modify their own businesses because of one little detail. I do not see the world the same way as they do, and my ideas sometimes can be a little off kilter, but they work for me and they have worked for many other people. One of the first things that I look at is this: am I on the track I desire to be on? And the reality for me personally is, yeah, I actually am. I've got my business now where I can track where money is. I was just looking at my spreadsheet today on finance to make sure I had it broken down so I can see everything that's coming in properly. Have it broken down so I know by the day, so at the end of the month, but I know day by day where I spent money, where I made money, how it is coming in. Because honestly, money just does not care what you're up and what you're feeling like. It just doesn't. You can be in the most foul mood possible, and money will do what it does. Okay, you can be in the best mood possible and money will still do what it does. But I will tell you this: if you're miserable with your business, if you're not content with it, the odds are you will spend more money trying to convince yourself or others that you are content than you'll actually generate. This is one of the reasons why many companies expand too fast, and we will talk about expansion down the road. Right now is not the time. Let's get your feet on the ground first. So, two signs, and I've pointed them out before. You can't see them here. I'm going to one of these times, I will bring both signs back over. But for the moment, I've got over on that wall, okay, beside my filing cabinet, I've got a sign that I personally burned using a magnifying lens in the sun that says, "I am worth it." Up here, I have a sign on my wall that tells me what my financial goals are. We have legally attained a minimum of $2,000 by 11:59 p.m. on March 31st, 2021. Now, understand that sign, the $2,000 simply is what I require to run my entire house. Of that, I have to man my business, and this is something I will be doing today, and I'll show you next week because I'll have it done. But today I'm going to be adding a sign to that is referring strictly to my business. Okay. And that will literally say we have legally attained a minimum of $200 by March 31st, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. The reason for only 200 is my office is 1/10 the size of my house. It's 1/10 of the area. Therefore, to run the house, which was at 2,000, the business only has to generate 200. Okay, pretty low overhead when you think about it. Now, if you've got your own business, like if you've got your own shop or your own restaurant or whatever in a place outside your home, the money to run it is what we're referring to in that $200 it cost me, because I got paid the rest anyway. But decide how much area you desire to cover. In my case, I'm desiring to go global. To this end, I'm already selling books in Canada, the US, and England. Now, there's a lot more countries to get into, and I will eventually, my intention is eventually to get into them. Okay, this is not a short run, this is not a short-term goal. Now, I've talked about these goals that you have, okay, and I said I definitely recommend keeping that handy, because you can get through them and you keep them to 15-minute to half-hour jobs. That way you can get them racked off and you feel like you're getting things accomplished over the course of the day. Okay, now, what's success to you? I would love to know. There's a list below the video here that shows where you can contact me. Either on YouTube itself, Facebook, Skype, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm on all of them. Okay, as well as, of course, email. The contact points are all below, as well as a list of the different publications I've already got in print. So getting a hold of me is not that difficult. Okay, and again, I am working on expanding my speaking tour. Okay, so I will go where I'm asked, given that I'm able to travel there and I've got the time for it. Now, needless to say, you have to look at overhead and what have you whenever you're doing anything. Okay, because again, money doesn't care how you feel, but it is imperative you pay attention to it. Now, the nice part about it is this: when you look at finances, okay, I like the way it was put to me by my father decades ago. If you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Okay, that's just the reality of it. It's kind of like the old African proverb. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you move a mountain? One shovelful at a time. Okay, now things don't happen. They just don't happen that quick. Well, aside from snapping your fingers, apparently does happen that quick. Okay, get clear what you feel marks your success. For me, it was pretty cut and dried. Okay, that is, I desired first and foremost to have my finances in order. Well, guess what? Do my methods work? For me, they certainly did. I'm debt free. Okay, I desired to get rid of a lot of junk. Well, if you look at my earlier videos, that brown shelf behind me used to have a whole pile of paperwork on top of it and throughout the middle of it. As you can see, the stuff is going away. Yes, I've got little figures there, but one of the things I do in my off time, okay, is I wind down by painting these little figures, these guys, right here. I paint these little guys with toothpicks and very small paintbrushes. Okay, I live a very different life. My industry is very simple: consulting, psychic work, writing, public speaking, and paraphernalia. It's pretty black and white for me, but I'm content with it. Frankly, I haven't been this content in well over a decade, and probably longer than that. Well, I guess well over makes it pretty much longer than that. But once you know what you're aiming at, where you desire to go, now something I should throw into the middle of this: running a house. If let's say you're a stay-at-home mom. Okay, I love the the fathers that go, "Oh, my wife doesn't do anything. She just stays at home and raises my 3 kids." And I'm thinking, if there's a more important job out there, let me know what it is. Okay, and it's by no means easy. But if you're running a household, okay, the business techniques that I'm talking about apply to running a household. I know this because I've tested them on my own household, and a lot of people I've talked to have tested them as well. That business cost is the $2,000 I was talking about in the first place. Okay, now the one very critical difference between running a household and running a business. Every business, okay, I strongly recommend, regardless of the field you're in, if it's a business, okay, pick 2 days out of the week and don't work those days. Okay, just pick 2 that you just don't work. Now, for me, part of my daily routine is getting videos up and running. Technically, you could call it business, but then again, my business videos I do on Monday. Okay, but I usually get things done before anybody gets up and mobile. Okay, but when you're running a business, especially if you're opening the doors away from home, pick 2 days out of the week that you're not working. And the reason for that is this. Let's say people say you got to be open 7 days a week to handle the customers. A lot of major corporations open up for only 5 days out of the week, if that. Thing is, let's say you're open 7 and you go, well, I'm actually not at work 2 of those days. I'll virtually guarantee on the 2 days you're not at work, you're still thinking, is everything going right? I've got to have that phone attached to my hip just in case there's a problem. That's not called a day off. Okay. Yes, you can run into problems even if the business is closed. You got to keep an eye on that. But you're not setting yourself up for it. So pick 2 days of the week, doesn't matter which 2. Okay, as long as they're back to back, and close the doors. Okay. For instance, now for me, because I both work and run a business, okay, I only take 1 day. My Sundays, aside from from the video first thing in the morning, that I do, the one that I titled The Journey, aside from that, I don't do much in the business. If I get a call that somebody's looking for me to do some work for them, I will take the call, take their number, and I will contact them the following day, because quite frankly, life is too short to get yourself tied up that tightly in business that you don't get time for you. Okay. So when you're looking at the issue of when to run the business, 2 days out of the week closed, the customers will come to you. If you're doing your business right, customers will come to you when you're open. If you're not open, they'll go someplace else. Sometimes. Most of the time, if you're treating your customers properly, the customer will come to you when your business is open. You cannot functionally be open 24/7. Okay, somewhere in there, I'm guessing you're going to have to sleep. And I'm strongly recommending you do. So you get things organized, go, okay, where am I in the success level? And of course, we have this issue. Take a look at your 3 streams. Now, mine will solidify. The books that I'm writing are very definitive. I've got my job, which is another stream of income, but it's not part of the business. Okay, so I've got the books, I've got some contract work, which is part of the consulting, which would be contract and individual consulting. Whether that's personal or whether that's business or not, doesn't matter. Okay, the issue is it's consulting work that I'm doing. The writing is another one. And eventually, the third stream I will be looking at getting into as things open up again is I do intend on generating an income through public appearances. Okay, so that will be 3 streams. Now, the thing with 3 streams, whatever the business, okay, the reason for it is if you've got 3 streams, each of which is generating at least half of your required income. Sorry about that. This is a live video, which means literally I do not go back and edit anything out. Okay. If you've got 3 streams of income, each of which generates at least a half of the income you require to run your business, if one of those streams fails, you're still pulling in full income. Okay, your business will not run into a hiccup. If you're running 3 and they're each running half, well, needless to say, your cash flow in your business is going to be positive, and that is ultimately the critical point. Ultimately, you have to have a positive cash flow in order for a business to thrive. Okay, and in my case, I've finished doing a whole pile of back stuff I had to, so starting, what is today? Today is the 29th. Day after tomorrow, I start on a very strict issue of money comes in. Okay, now I know what I've got to work with for the business. That's how much money I've got. At the end of the month, I'll figure out what to do. And as we get to the end, as the month goes on, I will walk you through the way I make decisions. Because I'm not a millionaire. Okay, and there's a lot of great business people out there, great instructional booklets out there, and what have you, that tell you how to make money work if you've got $50,000 to start with. Now, I'm telling you, I don't have $50,000 to start with. But the real crux of the work has to be established before you've got the cash flow. If you get your business set up properly, and let's just assume you've got a business up and running right now, but you're not happy with it. Take this moment to look at that and go, okay, I'm not happy with where my business is right this moment. So let's start at the beginning and we'll walk through one step at a time and go, okay, I've got my business. I've got all these things already in motion. I don't want to close the door, but I'm not happy with where it is. Where do I go? Well, we're going to go back to the beginning. Okay. And starting tomorrow, we've been a little scattered, and we do apologize for that. What I'm doing here is making a note for myself on that neat little pad I had. Um, I'm making a note for myself to ensure that we cover these in the right order. Again, that thing about planning. Success is real simple. You desire your business to evolve, to expand, to even reach a break-even point. You have to have a purpose in mind. You have to have a plan. You've got to have persistence in implementing that plan. And you've got to have the patience to let it work. Now, you may have been thinking about starting a business for a long time, questioning, do I have it in me? Okay. Well, the answer is everybody on the planet, okay, if their brain is working at all. I mean, there are some people that are really unfortunately brain dead, and I do mean that in the most literal sense of the word. No matter what your background, no matter what you're starting with, if you do things properly, step by step, with a solid plan, which we're going to walk through the next number of weeks, we're going to walk through things one step at a time to really get things moving. Now, here's the thing. It's going to take me a number of weeks to get this all out because I'm going to go through it one step at a time and we're going to watch as things evolve. But you may be one of these people going, I know this part of it. Okay, what do I do to get things turned in a hurry? Because I'm at a point where I've got to do it now and I can't wait another month for the information. And I can understand that, hence why I've got that list of places to contact me below. If you require information to deal with things, drop me a line. Like I said, I've been consulting. I've consulted for businesses for years. One of the best ones I ran into was a gentleman that sent me a testimonial. The long and the short of it was he had one business up and running, and he was trying to open up a second one, but he was having trouble getting it to work. So he contacted me and asked me what to do. Well, I gave him some techniques, and I worked with him for a number of years, and he writes me a letter one day, and he says, when I first met you, I thought you were a lunatic because everything you suggested went completely against what the business college had told me. He says the only reason I talked to you at all was because, well, frankly, everything they taught me wasn't working. So I just went out on a limb. He says, here I am a number of years later. I now have 7 locations, 2 of which are inside strip malls I personally own. Right. So, I mean, with that in mind, things are going. He was quite happy. And this is the thing, I do not look at business the way that business colleges do. I did not go to business school. I did go and take a course in business administration when I was a lot younger. Sadly, I failed it miserably, but my fault, and I can't go back and alter the fact I did. I could go back and take the course again, but quite frankly, I'm happy with where my business is. I can see where it's going, and I've got quantifiable, measurable record that shows my method is working. So if you've got a business that's running, but you're not happy with it, the techniques I'm going to be offering here over the next number of weeks, okay, are step by step. You can go back, you can plug them in, and they will simply move in. They will simply bleed into your operating business. I'm not telling you you have to do any of this. This is just the techniques that I personally have used and therefore can personally quantify and say, absolutely, these techniques work. They absolutely work. Okay, if they are implemented properly, you can take your business from wherever it's standing, if it's a brand new business or it's an old one that you're trying to rejuvenate. These same tools will work. Okay. Now that said, okay, I do that a lot. This is why I do not claim to be a real eloquent speaker. I do not claim to be the best of the best. Matter of fact, I'll tell you flat out, there are people far more qualified than me. The only thing that I've got going for me is, frankly, I believe in me. That's it. I know I make mistakes, but I also know that through those mistakes I've learned a staggering amount. At this stage, it's time to really take a look at where you're standing. Are you content with where your business is, with your income, with the way your life is around it? Are you living 24/7 at the business and therefore losing out on life? We're going to cover all of these things so that you can figure out how to integrate life and business, and you can have both. Okay, who says you can't have it all? People tell me you can't have it all, and I'm like, why not? I don't see the reason why not, unless, of course, I get so caught up in the idea of I need more money. Well, I don't require more money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do desire more money. But if I have to sacrifice my life, my enjoyment of life, if I have to sacrifice that to make the business work so other people can have things, ain't going to happen for me. Okay. Now, the other thing is, I look at it this way. I am intending my business. Okay. I'm intending it to go global. It's that simple. Okay. But I'm not going to sacrifice my life so that I can't enjoy it, so that down the road there's some empires that I'm not even alive to enjoy. Okay. And it's like people have asked me, well, what about a legacy for your kids? Well, I'd love to give a legacy to my kids. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to help them as much as I can while I'm alive, and then they can profit from whatever's left. But ultimately, no matter what I leave behind, what I won't leave behind when I die is me. That's the one thing I cannot leave behind. My body I can leave, but that's pretty boring and just kind of lies around for a while. So figure out what you feel is success, and I'm going to set things in motion. Next week, we're going to start off at ground zero, and we're going to take a look at where you go one step at a time. If it's a business you're thinking of opening up, these tools will apply. If it's a business you've already opened up, these tools will be able to be integrated into your existing business and thereby help you get to the point of profitability, okay, and prosperity. But it's up to you to determine what is success to you. So, for the moment, we're going to cut this down. We're going to bring this to a close. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the subscription button. Okay, and check the links below where you can contact me with questions. There's a list of different publications I've already got in print. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.